Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. This is 264. I'm here with a good friend of mine, the beautiful and talented Ms. Sanello. And I just want to say for Courtney Sanello, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. And now for people who want to know what our special guest today, we have La Fifi. Say hello, Fifi. I know, I had too much free time on my hands. But, you know, like I said, it's a half hour, 45 minutes. Say anything you want, curse if you want to. I didn't mean to interrupt you before, force a habit. You know, let's Skype.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. It happens.
So starting off, let's jump right into it. I'm going to ask you some hard-hitting questions, so I'm going to puss. And I'm going to give the show over to you, and I want you to puss back. Say whatever you want. Freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression, gloves off. And starting off, when you were growing up, what can you tell us about your life when you were growing up? And when you went to high school and college, were you a study nerd or party animal?
So, I guess the first part of the question is what I was like when I was growing up. I didn't have a hard life, but I was definitely a opinionated, headstrong kid. I definitely did things my own way. You know, I wasn't allowed to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was like my favorite show because I was like doing all these like crazy ninja moves all over people. Like I think I was doing like Raphael or something. He was my favorite. Anyway, so yeah, so I would like for example, I don't think it's that normal that because I'm not allowed to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and my mom goes out to the grocery store that I find a need to tell my babysitter to find like a wagon down in the basement, like the furthest part of the basement, knowing this.
Right.
So I just lock the door and just keep her in there so I could watch the show. But these are things that I did, you know. But I was responsible. You know, I always took responsibility for my actions. You know, I told her that I wasn't turning on the oven, so I wasn't doing anything bad. I definitely did things only that I really chose to do. Like for another example, later on in high school, my friend actually told me this, Jackie. She said that I was nicknamed the Wanderer of my camp group because I would just leave. I would just disappear. It would be like, you know, oh, I don't want to do second swim. I wanted to go do macrame, and I would just literally just go. And she was assigned, like, to keep an eye on the Wanderer. So it was actually a joke later on in high school, which I never knew at the time. And I just thought, oh, I'm going to do macrame, whatever, it's cool. I definitely don't. It's caused a little bit of difficulty because I'm so headstrong and opinionated, or I guess strong in my beliefs, growing up, along with trying to fit in or fit in the mold, which I later on realized doesn't work at all, especially for me. And I kind of had to just manage how I felt about myself and how I saw myself. I was always a smart person, but I never studied. So I had a photographic memory, and it would piss people off because I would get a 5 on the AP Bio exam by drawing pictures, which is great. But, you know, then going into college, I didn't understand why I couldn't do as well, you know, not doing anything. I didn't really have the discipline. You can kind of label me as an ADHD type of diagnosis, if that's easier to digest. But it caused me a lot of frustration, and I felt like something was wrong with me in college because I just didn't really get it. Like the classes were longer, the curriculum was different, and I essentially didn't really like where I went to school at all. I knew I wasn't going to like it, and it was kind of a very quiet time for me.
No.
So yeah.
No, absolutely. And now we're going to take a quick commercial break. Just hang on for 1 second.
Sure.
Go on, baby. Alright, so I'm going to take this time to promote a couple affiliations I'm with. But
Sure.
I do want to answer one thing that you brought up, how I used to reenact the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle moves and You Are the Wanderer. You know, we have that in common. I was like the same exact person. I walk to the beat of my own drum. I always like to just wander off. And I reenacted the WWF wrestling moves.
Get out, really? Oh, man. Which one? Who were you?
I haven't had a lot of them, but me and my brother used me as a rag doll. We grew up watching Bret Hart, Owen, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker.
Undertaker, that's what, not Punisher, Undertaker, yeah. Got it wrong, sorry, yeah.
He always got annoyed. It's like there's this wrestler, Kevin Nash, where he does the jackknife powerbomb, where I stick my head between your legs, you grab, and you have to lift the person up, so you have to do like a flip motion, and it's like, I can't do that. I hate being flipped through the air.
Yeah, who likes that? That's terrible. Yeah, I hate being flipped over.
But the tombstone, he would pick me upside down. And I was like, well, you can do that, but you can't be flipped upside down.
Well, I get it. I don't know, sometimes like positioning and how being balanced, it's totally different for everybody. But that's really, yeah, I was kind of a hyper kid. I did a lot of different things. That's cool about it, yeah. I was definitely like more of a tomboy. I was an only kid, so yeah. I always had guy friends. I really didn't like girls that much. Like maybe one or two. That's it, and then it would just get annoying. Like I had horses instead of Barbie dolls. I don't know. I like horses.
I like Barbie dolls.
They're just like Barbie dolls, sure. But,
hey, toys are toys, right?
This is true, yeah. I guess I always liked animals better than people, but, I just have to be part of society, so what can I do?
I'm the same way, when I give you a perfect example, and this is me and my sister feel the same way. We watch any type of TV show or movies, and then I can go back to my affiliations. You can watch any type of movies, and someone dies on the screen, okay, whatever. But if a poodle or a mouse or a bird gets killed, why? And this guy got his head blown off, but the poor doggy!
I know, but what about the dog? Well, is he going to live? I get it. I do. I get it, yeah.
So the affiliations I'm going to start off with, and I'm going to pass the show over to you, is, you mentioned you were an actress, and this one's perfect for you. The first one I want to promote, I know we're jumping around, but, every interview's different. First one I want to promote is Celebrity VM. Have you ever heard of it?
Now I do, but yeah, I can write that one down. Okay.
CelebrityVM.com. It's basically, I give you a perfect example. You come across my profile, don't mind me just getting comfortable. You come across my profile, and for $20, you say, hey, today's my birthday, or my parents are getting their wedding vows renewed, or whatever. For $20, I can say whatever you want, as long as it's not perverted or anything. I say whatever you want, and there's celebrities from Breaking Bad, House of Cards, Game of Thrones. Let's see, they're working on getting Smallville on there. You mentioned the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so there's this actor who does the voices. He's on there as well.
Oh, nice.
So the cheapest one, I'll give you a perfect example. The cheapest is like me, would be like $20, and dependent on the celebrity, prices vary.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Rodman, for God knows why, he wants $500 to do a video. It's like, yeah, I'd be happy if it was the $500, thank you.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah.
I don't know why you would pay $500 for like a 2-minute video. It's a waste.
Yeah, it's I guess the perceived value of anything, right? So I guess it's his brand, but different. I definitely lean on the side of you with the inflation of 500. Wow, that'd be cool.
So you can go to Celebrity VM, and the next one I'm going to promote is two at the same time. It's called Do You Have a Dog? That's not what it's called, but I'm asking, do you have a dog?
I had a dog, yeah. Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, his name was Rex. He was an English Mastiff. It feels like
I want to get one of those. Those are great.
They're fantastic dogs. I can't say anything terrible about any animal, but they're just great. Really, they're like people. It's really cool.
It's like a giant. Was it like a giant teddy bear?
He was. He would always hug me. He would just make sure, because I was a baby, so he would like make sure I'm okay. He'd always like whoever stayed over at the house, he would make sure to like bust in on their door at like 7 or 8 in the morning, no matter who it was. Just like because he's so tall, he would like wake them up by like nuzzling his nose in their bed, like in their face. So any boyfriend or friend that I had stay over, just like doors open, and it would scare them pretty badly. It's pretty funny.
Would he ever rebuy a dog, or
if I lived in a place that I was able to care for an animal the way that you should, of course. I live in a 5th floor walk up, so I wouldn't do that to an animal, and I'm always running around doing God knows a million jobs, but all good things. But I couldn't pay attention enough to the animal. I think my parents might actually get, instead of 1 dog, they might get 2, so they have friends.
Well, if they're interested, there's something called BarkBox. BarkBox is it's basically like Woo Crates, and what it's BarkBox, Woo Crates have in common, and there's a whole bunch of other ones. I can show you later. They're like Level Up. There's one in the box of the 80s and the 90s. Now WWE has their own box, and basically it's $14 a month, and so for Woo Crates, if you like collecting shirts, they will send you shirts as long as you pay $14. It's an ongoing thing. So they give you shirts. If you have a sock fetish, they give you socks. You can get the DX box. They have an anime box where it's just animes. It's really good. So go to woocrates.com and barkbox.com. It's the same thing, but they won't give you socks or whatever. They will give you 2 toys, 2 bags of treats.
Is it kind of like Chewy? Is it similar? No, go on, continue. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. It's basically they send you 2 toys, 2 bags of treats, 2 dog foods, a jacket, and basically there's like their whole bunch of things. BarkBox, Woo Crates, Level Up, Chewy may be one of them. And eventually, everyone is going to have their own box description at some time or another. But what is Chewy? I'm very interested now.
Well, Chewy, we actually had an English bulldog who just moved from our building. He was kind of like the king of the block. He was probably the most beautiful English bulldog I've ever seen. Like these amber gray eyes, this tan and white spotted coat, massive, just like wide. His name was George. He was on the 2nd floor of our building, and I swear, like, he must have gotten stopped, like, every square of the block when the dog walker would come. Like, a nanny got flown in with him when he first arrived in New York. So he used to get boxes from Chewy, and it would be all of his toys and little snacks, and, yeah, it was kind of sad that he moved. He was our favorite. He was just like a great personality, Didn't like the rain, so he'd be all like sad trying to like walk through it. It'd be fun.
Well, I can beat that story. Every time it thunders, my dog Fifi runs into the bathtub and she covers her face with her paws.
Oh my god. Oh, that's good.
Or she would sit next to you and does vibrate and drool.
What? What did you say?
Oh, Fifi would either she hides in the bathtub or she would sit next to you and vibrate and drool.
Oh my god! I guess you don't get bored, right?
No.
Aw. How old is Fifi?
Got her back in 2007, so I think about 9 years.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm going to ask you one more easy question, and I'm going to pass it back to you. And you can ask me anything you want. Did you ever get the chance to do any of those sports growing up? I don't know if you answered the question before. I'm sorry if I repeat myself. But did you ever get the chance to do one of those, any sports? And did you ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids, or not a human pyramid person?
I tried out for the JV cheerleader team, but I just couldn't deal with it. I was more of a long distance runner, track and field. I was captain of the JV volleyball team, so we had an undefeated season when I was JV captain, which was awesome. Other sports that I played, I was always a good runner. Swim I just did recreationally. Volleyball. Trying to think what I did the other seasons. Fall was I ran the 800 meter, which is a terrible race. It's like you can't run fast and you can't really jog it. It's like right in the middle. Then I would do volleyball. Then I would do the play. Then I would do track and field spring. And I would run the 100 meter and the 50 yard. Yeah. Yes, that's it.
My school had a 500-mile run. And I would try a little bit, but I ended up walking. I used to get the teachers nuts. It's like, why do you do it? I like the exercise, but you're wasting my time. Hey, it's my time. I can do whatever I want.
Absolutely right. Yeah, they can't rush me. Good luck with that. Yeah. So those were the ones I played. Sport I liked to horseback ride when I was younger in camp. It was one of my favorite things. Like English and Western saddle. So I started to learn how to do like the barrel racing, like the rodeo stuff. It was pretty funny. I was actually kind of good. I don't know. So.
How come you never want to become a pro?
Well, I am short, but I'm not that short. And that type of lifestyle is something very specific. And they're always, I played an equestrian, a rider on TV. I guess I still kind of maybe look the part, but what else? I was swimming. Yeah, that's about it. Played badminton in school because I had to. And yeah.
Would you ever be interested in ever doing a human pyramid, or is that not your thing?
Sure, why not? I've done gymnastics before. I can't really do like a back handspring, but I could do, like a round off, a cartwheel. I can tumble. I could do the bars, but it's been like a while. So I've done the trapeze acrobatic stuff is so cool. I've done like the lyra. It's like the metal hoop kind of thing, and the silks. I like the metal hoop though because it's a lot less forgiving. Like if you don't catch it, it's like, what are you gonna do? But yeah.
I love the pyramid stuff. I know I'm a loser.
What do you mean? What are you talking? You're not a loser. What are you talking about? Why? Like you want like 4 people or 3 people, then 2, then 1, like that kind of thing?
Well, kind of. But then there's a whole bunch of other ones. Like I always wanted to reenact the Dumbo pyramid. That was one.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's a whole bunch of other ones. So I always wanted to do one since I was 4. So it's kind of like, if I do it, I can get it out of my system and forget it. So it's kind of like I haven't done it. So I'm working on getting a bunch of people together. And if you're interested, I would love to do one with you.
Done. Let's do it. As long as we have like a safety person.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now, I'm going to pass the show over to you. And this is your time after all. Is there anything you want to promote? Anything you want to talk about? Ask me. Gloves off. You can ask me anything you want.
I guess the first thing maybe, how did you find me?
I get that a lot. I use LinkedIn. Let's see, LinkedIn, Twitter, Stage 32, Facebook. I interview everyone and everyone. I started off with voiceover actors, and I was like, okay, what else can I do? Then I got actors, actresses, and it's like models. Well, why not get more professional people on there? I got CEOs, like I said, professional wrestlers, everyone and everyone. I don't discriminate. I got whites, blacks, Spanish, Asians, Chinese, Japanese, French, Russian. I basically cover my bases, so no one can say I discriminate.
That's smart.
It's true.
You don't want that. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Well, I guess maybe I have an online presence then. That's pretty cool. Yeah, why not? I was just like, this is actually one of my first, I guess, in-person interviews, and I was like, all right, I was reading recently an article, and it says, no matter what happens next, say yes to the next job, right. No matter what. And I was like, what could I really lose? Because I've been interviewed for certain things I've done or projects I've worked on, but I've never actually been interviewed, me, like as a person, like who I am, with deep thoughts, I guess I can use this time, I guess this year has been challenging for me. It's been a lot of new projects. It's been a lot of disappointments in regards to, I guess, acting, career, entertainment. I booked my first feature film the beginning of last year, and it was great, principal role, so cool. And we shot in June and July of last year, and, wrap party and everything. It was in post-production, and then I hear that it's stuck in post, and I was like, what do you mean? And I'm just like, what are you talking? I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, legal, financial, you name it, stuff happening. As far, I won't go into any detail like that, but I was just like, what? I was like, I was so naive to the whole thing. I couldn't believe how naive I was. I was more upset about that than being upset that the film wasn't released yet. But even though it's shelved, it doesn't mean that it's there forever. So I have to kind of keep that in the back of my head. But because of that, it kind of brought me into a mental state of like, this terrible, like, how did this happen? I wanted this for my reel. I was so excited, And I was like, you know what? Like, I remember, like, for example, at Actors Green Room, I just started kind of engaging and being part of some of the classes there, or reading their posts on Facebook, and a lot of there was a talk of, making your own work. I was like, okay, making your own work. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe there's something to it. And I never wrote anything ever. So I joined, New York Women in Film and Television, and I just start writing. I start learning about, like, content and development of a script and a storyboard. And because I draw and I'm a fine artist, like, even though my drawings are not what a storyboard typically would be, but I can get the impression of it down. So I kind of talk more in pictures than in words. So I kind of had to draw pictures first, then backtrack and actually write words, and then edit them and write it again, and then reread it and walk away. And so I remember going to my first New York Women NIWIF, let's just call it NIWIF, meeting, and I was like, I wrote my first script. I wanted to have me, one other person, a beginning, middle, and end. These were my parameters. And a short, because I couldn't deal with anything longer, or I didn't want to disappoint myself. And I wanted to have control over the location. And I wanted to have something dynamic and action-based. Going back again to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing. Anyway, as I'm just thinking about this. So they're like, oh yeah, so when did you start writing? And I'm like, January. They're like, 2016. I'm like, I'm going to do it. and I think about it, like, granted this is like 9 months ago, but they probably thought I was absolutely crazy. So I got the funds together. We shot, it's called Home Wrecker. It was the first short I did in my apartment with my very good friend Femi, who's so patient. He's a stuntman, and he kind of, because I realized, I'm athletic, I could do this, and I'm like, oh wait, no, but it's fight choreography, so I have to show the impression of a hit, but not actually hit him. So it's like one step of like pretending to making it look realistic, but not really doing it. So learning what I don't know yet. So I looked at the footage, and after I learned so much in the experience, and I was blown away with like how much I value certain pre-production requirements that go into a project, why things take so long, and now I know how much things cost from the bottom up, which is incredibly helpful for negotiating any future job that I have. Like, no, you don't have to do this, you can do this, this, and this. Obviously, I'm not going to really do that every time and be that person, but it gives you an understanding as to why some people are the way they are on set, and you just have to respect that, because if you feel that much with your own short film, you can't even I can't even imagine having to deal with other people's money and then following through on such a, I don't want to say catastrophic level, but like, it kind of feels like a catastrophe, but
chaos.
Such a huge level. And so I looked at the footage, and we were editing it, and I was so lucky to have met a post-production studio that was actually interested in it. While I was talking to the guy who was filming a pilot for Netflix while I was bartending there. So essentially I was babysitting a crew because I couldn't bartend for them since it was 9 o'clock in the morning because they were shooting something. It was for a comedian, I don't know. I forget his name. Oh God, he looks like Egghead. What's his name? I'll think of it. But it's kind of like, it's a similar fashion to the Jim Gaffigan show, that kind of like breakdown. And they're like, yeah, give us a card, give us a call when you're done with it. I'm like, yeah, sure. I was like, we finished the first take of it. It was we shot it in 2 days. We had 1 day of reshoots. We did this all ourselves. Lighting, I learned how to light a Nigerian, and then so I had to do like turnarounds with like me being like, I was actually a lot paler than I am now, and a Nigerian in front of a window with light coming through, and like, talk about, I had to make a light box, which I found on Indie Mobile. I like had to like saw into like a cupcake pan, and it was just like, so it looks exactly like what a light box would be, and it's great. It's 8,000 watts. I was like, I did that. I had to wire all these things together. I was crazy. I was like, if I know how to do that, I can do the next thing. And it's crazy. Like, who does that? But anyway, so we're reshooting Homewrecker September 16th, and I registered all the required documentations for the SAG-AFTRA short film agreement. Everything is in order, so there's always a lead time, which I'm like, what takes so long? So that's all set and done, and I'll be more than happy to share it with you when we finish it up. And after that, my second project was, I don't know what gave me the nerve to really just do this, but there was this AGR short film monthly contest or challenge. It's not a contest because we didn't win anything. But I did it in July, so it's a 72-hour turnaround where you get a week to write about a topic given. At this month in July, they assigned you a group of actors. You may or may not know them. And then you're responsible for gathering a team or crew. So me being who I am, I kind of I was like, yeah, I'll join. I'll pay $20. I don't care. Let me be a leader. I was like, let me just start. No idea. I think like having that just different train of thought or just mindset really helps me in certain ways, because if I was a bit logical with about a lot of the things I did, I don't think I would get anything done. So a lot of the people who were assigned to me, I knew nobody. I had all girls. I had 7 girls of all different ages, some of them in previous contests, some of them not. I brought on Femi for my first short because I'm like, I need a guy, and I need somebody that I immediately know his work and can really bounce ideas off of. Because I never wrote anything besides Homewrecker except like 2 or 3 other scenarios. And so now I was like, yeah, I'll be the writer, I'll be the producer, I'll direct. I was like, yeah, I'll be in it too. Yeah, no problem, whatever. Okay. And so I was like, wow, this is a lot. And so I wanted to see if I could do it. I wanted to see if I could manage the resources with the short amount of time, and come up with some cohesive linear story, or just come up with a story, because, God, I think the topic was apples and oranges. And so I remembered in the preview or the screening of our rough cut, essentially, I was, if I can recall, I was one of the only films that had the entire crew and cast present the entirety of the screening, which was really cool. So I guess I felt like respected, because I wanted to pay for the crew as much as I could. I went around to different restaurants and different stores, act with like my one-pager saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. We're looking for donations for the crew and cast. I got great donations from Sweet Generations, which is a wonderful bakery in the East Village. I got half off at a Rava Persian grill, so it's like Mediterranean food. So I actually had catered food for everyone. I had breakfast with all the breads and stuff. And I couldn't believe how generous, local shops could be. And people are like, oh my God, you got all of this for free? And I just, I just had to really, be humble and ask for help, because, man, trying to do a pitch door to door, asking for stuff, I had a panic attack going to one of the stores. I think I was like stuttering, like to the point of like, I was like, I'm gonna go, thanks. And I walk out, I go back into my apartment, I'm like, that was the worst thing ever. I was like, I suck. I was like, oh man. And so I was like, all right. It's like, no, I need to do this. I'm like, if I stop now, how am I even going to do the film if I get frustrated at that, So I got myself out. I walked around the block, and the next one I went to was the Sweet Generations Bakery, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, we work on arts and nonprofit organizations, and we love to help different projects. And I was like, well, I just walked into something awesome, and their food is great also. So that film is called Cuttlefish. And so I was one of the only films that didn't have an apple or an orange in the film, or said, well, it's like apples and oranges, which that was a definite choice on my part. And the other actors recognized that I didn't do that, and they thanked me, and it was really cool. And now I have a whole group of people, crew and cast, that I respect and can call upon to work on future projects. So it was, it's been a very tumultuous year, tiring, but I kind of had a little small victory. Then I'll try a little bit more. I'm learning post-production stuff like Premiere and audio editing and After Effects, and that is a steep learning curve. There is, like, because that's the last part before you send it off to the public. And so if you can't really control that or really understand what's going on, I feel like that's a huge issue on a certain level. So I have to be kind to myself and just sit still and watch tutorials and just make a lot of terrible movies, and then they'll get better.
No, absolutely. Well,
yeah, maybe that'll make sense.
Well, after the show, I do have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, totally fine.
Now, wrapping up, how can people follow you on social media? And when I first approached you, what was your honest opinion? And now, after doing the interview, how do you feel about it now?
My first impression when you asked me, I think I was in the middle of probably working on a project, and so I took it as something neutral,
right?
And I was just like, oh, that seems like an interesting avenue of something I'd consider doing, and I like to be logical in my decisions, and you know what, I was thinking like, why not? Why not talk about something? I've never done that before. I am the one who would be talking and controlling what I'm saying, so it's really up to me. And so I said, yeah, sure, why not? And if our schedules worked out together, coincided, why wouldn't I? If I said no to that, like what? I'm not really being a very good advertiser, you know what I mean? And then so afterwards, I'm like really happy that I said yeah, and that I did it. I didn't really look too much at your other videos because I didn't want want to say taint, affect what I talked about. You know, I kind of gave myself a moment before we talked and just, I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm okay with myself, and I'm just going to talk about whatever I can. So, kitty! That's awesome.
Thank you, Cassie. I have a lot of cats, but this one's saying, oh, relax. This one is called Mr. Cassidy. Come on, Cassie. He's self-visiting.
I adopted a cat when I was in college. After I graduated college, he had a lazy eye, so he was named at the shelter Mr. Magoo. And I was like, I want him. He's such a little brat. Grateful.
Well, wrapping up the talk show segment, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to building a friendship with you as well.
Sure, yeah, you can find me on social media, Courtney Sanello, so CourtneySanello, and I'm that across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, CourtneySanello.com. I try to keep it consistent, so it's easy to find me.